Hey, Scott and Kira. My name is Beth Massa, and I am a female entrepreneur. I have been living in the Netherlands for 20 years, and I have a personal story that I have been wanting to share for a long time that I think aligns really well with Scott's mission around rescuing, the ordinary guys in this world. So maybe a little bit more about the person that you're talking to. I spent the first 20 years of my career in big tech, Amazon for 9 years, and then Microsoft for 10. And started a couple of businesses and found that it was incredibly difficult for me to get funding compared to my male counterparts. So now, in addition to running the startups, I also run this campaign called Need Money, Not Friends. And the idea is that female founders are offered in abundance advisors and mentors and accelerators. And the idea is that we have enough friends. What we need is money. So, in addition to t shirts, I also procured this camper van, and I have turned it into my own mobile podcast center where I interview female founders and female investors and all of our allies to talk about the barriers that women face in funding. And I am also raising a 10 million euro angel investment so that we can not only overcome those barriers, but remove them. All right, so I'm going to send my message and my story to you guys inside my mobile podcast studio. You can see it's in quite a state of disarray and disassembly at the moment. But here we go. Okay, Kira, I also have a story for you too. That'll come in a separate video, but this one is for Scott and what he's trying to do for the average guy. So first of all, I want to say that I am a really big fan of men. I'm a straight woman. I have spent almost all of my career in very male-dominated tech industries where the only women I really had contact with were in PR or HR. That wasn't me. I was sort of in a tech adjacent role. But all my life, I've had great boyfriends and great male friends that were platonic and great coworkers. Of course, there were some real jerks in the works, and unfortunately, my biological father's not like the best person in the world, but my stepfather was amazing. So I'm a big fan. I've had really great experiences with lovely, lovely guys who I have loved deeply in all sorts of different types of ways you can love someone. So the story I want to tell today is about two of the men that I used to work with in the tech world. This is probably in the early 2000s. And these were guys that just needed a little bit of help. They just couldn't attract the women that they were attracted to. And these were like prime guys, like stable careers, well-educated, funny, smart, but just were missing that thing. And I had to sit down with both of them and have a really realistic conversation and say, you are never going to attract the women you're attracted to because you're not on their level. So you can either go for women who are on your level, or you can up your game a little bit. And they really resisted that because the argument was, no, I want a woman to love me for who I am, just like I am. And if they don't, there's something wrong with them. And I'm like, okay, well, you can continue to go through life thinking that women are shallow and should love you for exactly who you are. But then you're going to stay single for the rest of your life. So what choice do you have? And so these were guys that just needed a little bit of tweak. So they said, okay, Beth, let's do this as an experiment. So the first one, I just asked him to wax his back because I said, most women are going to pull that shirt off and they're going to be very unpleasantly surprised. And he really resisted that because he's like, oh, it's going to hurt. But no, it's just, it's who I am. I'm like, okay, again, go ahead and be who you are. And you can repulse every woman that you take to bed with pretty much 100% of the time. And then the other one was just the sweetest guy, starting to go balding a little bit. And they're both writers. They're both in the editorial world. And so I said, I want you to give me a budget. And we are going to go and we are going to get you a really nice, appropriate haircut for, what you've got to work with. And we're going to go to Barney's and we're going to get you a wardrobe. And he said, okay. So we went and got him a really nice, elegant haircut. We got him just like a basic, I guess what you would call a capsule wardrobe of just beautiful, simple cashmere sweaters, like nothing outrageous. It was his, black t-shirt style, but just elevated. And with the other one, again, I think we just got him, I think he was a bit more resistant on the whole wardrobe thing, but we just like amped it up a little bit. And then I had to explain to them, the good news for you is that women are not attracted to the same thing you are. That's why there's no porn industry for men. We are attracted to someone who has social status that is expressed in the way that they take care of themselves, in good grooming, a little bit of a sense of style, and someone that portrays sort of that quiet confidence. You don't even need to rely on your DNA. Women don't really necessarily care about how good looking you were born at birth. Obviously, that is the case with every unattractive billionaire or rock star that's thinking to themselves, I better be a rock star or make $1 billion if I want to get attractive women to sleep with me. But you don't have to go that far. I said, women are attracted to men who put the effort into themselves. And so they let me do this. And within 6 months of my little gentle makeover, these guys found the missing link, and they both found girlfriends that they ended up marrying and are still married to this day. So my spin on the story, I guess, is it comes, I guess, a little bit from a European perspective. So I started going to Europe regularly, again, around this time, and just saw how European men dress better. And I think with American men, again, I'm framing this within this comparison, think that dressing well makes you seem effeminate or homosexual, or they're embarrassed by trying to present that they care about what they look like, or maybe they just don't know any better. But I think that it would show they're going to be pleasantly surprised at how much they attract women without having to put any extra effort in than just showing up, like looking great, smelling really good. Again, even if you're not like in the best physical shape, women can overlook that if they see all the other stuff that I've just explained. So that is my story there. And I really do feel for these guys who are just getting lost in the shuffle. Again, I'm a fan of men, and I don't think it's fair that young white men coming up in this generation have to pay for the sins of their fathers who've gotten so lucky with their entitlement. Like, how is that at all fair? It doesn't help any of us, and it certainly doesn't help women who are looking for husbands that are attractive to them as life partners. So I'm 57 years old. I've lived in Europe for 20 years, so I'm very out of touch with what's happening in the US. But this is my perspective. Again, I've wanted to share it for a long time, and I hope it's helpful. Okay, case in point. So I have to go to Dubai a lot for work, and I'm at some hotel outside eating breakfast, and this gaggle of American students come in and they sit down, and I look down under the table, and this is what I saw. Okay, so again, it was all of these boys and a couple of girls, and we all ended up going into the elevator at the same time. And I pulled the girls aside and I said, hey, what are you guys all doing here? And it was some MBA exchange program or something. And I said, I think, girls, it is your moral obligation to tell these boys to stop dressing like 3-year-olds. In fact, I can't even think of 3-year-olds who still wear the shower sandals with white socks, and they're in Dubai, one of the most, well-heeled cities in the world. How they weren't embarrassed to be dressed like that is, I think, a giant problem. Okay, finally, to wrap all of this up. So first of all, Scott, like you, I am an AI optimist. I'm actually building a little app for myself right now that's going to be making some passive income, and I'm having AI build the whole thing. It's unbelievable. But second of all, I want to talk about the nature of relationships in the future that's going to require a lot of effort, compassion, love, and acceptance from both partners. So with my husband, we've been together for 30 years. And if you ask him how we met, he would say, we met in college. But actually, Michael was a very high value man. He was in this extraordinarily popular band in our regional college area, and I was the groupie that got lucky. Okay, so anyway, but Michael's, my husband is, I would say he's a little bit spectrumy. He's a little bit of, I don't know, he's overcome it a lot. This is taking too long to tell. Anyway, the point is, if Michael could get paid to collect degrees, that would be his ideal job. So a couple of things have happened to sabotage his career path. One, he graduated with an electrical engineering degree, got this great job at Boeing, and then like a week later, 9/11 happened and wiped out the industry of whatever he makes, like computer chips or something, for the next couple of years. So then he decided, I'm going to go to law school, goes to law school, gets a patent degree in patent law, and then I like rip us out of the US and say, we're moving to Europe, and then the whole patent law thing here is just like so different, and it just kind of like knocked him out from under his knees for a few years. So I've always been more of like the one with a stable career, but Michael is, and I'm not saying this to be self-deprecating, it's just an empirical fact, like he's extraordinarily intelligent and way more just book smart and intelligent than I am. He just has this very efficient brain. But he's also an incredible handyman because he just has this raw talent. So you could just give him some complex, like, I don't know, imported Italian shower installation to put together, and he can figure it out, and he can put together our showers. So the point that I'm saying here is that I had to, if our marriage was going to work, I had to let go of my expectations of what I thought he was going to be as a provider, because sometimes in life it just doesn't like work out that way. And I also don't think that Michael's beautiful soul is really meant for the corporate world. So he contributes to our relationship in ways that are very masculine. So, you know, he handles all of our finances, and he can build and repair stuff that, you know, saves us thousands and thousands of dollars that I might not have the money for on what's mostly like my income. He is, you know, he can help startups if they're not sure if they should, you know, go through the expense and time of filing their patents. So he'll kind of help them out a little bit. So from the financial contribution, like, you know, it seemed like very mismanaged or unbalanced in terms of his contributing there. But, you know, you've been talking so much about, you know, young men, and I would also say young women going into trades. And I think that this is such a great idea, and something that I've noticed in my like overly educated, overly intellectualized husband is that he has calloused hands. One, mostly because he's also, by the way, an incredible musician. So he's got lots of calluses on his fingers from his guitars, but also because he's out there building stuff all the time. And it made me start to notice so many men in the world that are in news have soft hands, because and how unappealing that is. Pretty much every man in tech has these like soft little girly hands, but not my man. He's got nice, rugged, calloused hands, and also has like 5 degrees. So this is, again, something else that, you know, maybe if a man wants to go into a trade, this is something that I think women would find really, really attractive. No more soft hands on men anymore. Okay, now I'm done.